What's going on, my fellow Enhancement Shaman enjoyers? Today is a good day for us with these new War Within beta development notes. This comes following a prior update where they moved Flurry, a pretty much mandatory enhancement talent, from the core class talent tree over to the spec-specific enhancement tree. And people weren't very pleased with this because we already had a tight restriction on our talent points for our builds, and now having to account for this specific talent that is on one set side of a tree, threw a little bit of a wrench in people's builds and was putting some strain and tension on it. So people weren't very pleased about that. Fortunately, this update fixes that a little bit and brings us some other really nice bonuses. So let's talk about them. Healing Surge healing increased by 20%. That's always nice. More healing's always nice until it is inevitably nerfed because we're doing too much self-sustained healing, be it in PvE or PvP as a hybrid DPS. So, we'll enjoy it while we have it though. But what we're here for, the enhancement specific changes. Primordial Wave is now a 30-second cooldown, was a 45-second cooldown. Primordial Wave being like a key DPS cooldown, being shortened down to 30 seconds is actually a really big change on multiple levels. One, it's obviously very nice being able to use that burst more frequently, applying Flame Shock and then spreading it with Lava Lash and hitting multiple targets with Lightning Bolt for big bursts at 175% damage value is just really nice in general. But if you have the talents for it, where Primordial Wave also generates Maelstrom Weapon for you, being on a 30-second cooldown, if you have Witch Doctor's Ancestry, you are going to be generating those 10 stacks of Maelstrom more frequently, which is in turn going to more frequently lower the cooldown of our Spirit Wolves. From that synergy of whenever you generate Maelstrom weapon stacks, it lowers the cooldown by 2 seconds. So that's a really big change there as well. So you're going to have Wolves up more quickly. Also, Doom Winds is now a 60-second cooldown, down from 90 seconds. That is a tremendous change for Doom Winds, particularly for all you Doom Winds enjoyers and people who like playing that Wind Fury style build. This being on a 60-second cooldown is really nice and opens up its viability quite a bit more, being able to be used more frequently as a, key DPS cooldown, but also it lines it up more with other cooldowns that you might have. Even things that are like racial abilities like Orc's Blood Fury, which was a 2-minute cooldown when Doom was on 90-second cooldowns. Those are never really lining up after the first hit, except for a long period of time or if you hold it. But now every 2 minutes, this will always line up with it. So it's just a nice change, and it's just going to make it a much more viable and impactful choice to take for that build style. Casting Flame Shock, Frost Shock, and Sundering will now initiate combat with melee auto attacks. This is just a nice quality of life improvement in something that people have talked about before, about how the interaction of using these skills wouldn't follow up with melee auto attacks. So just a nice thing to have being added in. Molten Assault range now increased by 4 yards. This is nice for spreading your Flame Shock, not needing everything to be just stacked on top of each other, and there being a little bit of flexibility for that room for it to be able to spread is very nice, and is now also going to have an impact visual on impacted targets, so easier to tell who is impacted. Crash Lightning range increased by 4 yards also. Again, nice that it's just going to allow this ability that's supposed to be this conal frontal attack, not need everything to be just stacked up directly in front of you. Gives you a little bit of leeway to work with in terms of connecting with those targets. Crash Lightning is now on a personal resource display. Earthen Weapon is no longer on personal resource display. Elemental Blast now correctly replaces Lava Burst in your spellbook. And for the big thing here, the following talents are now 1 point. Molten Assault, Improved Maelstrom Weapon, and Witch Doctor's Ancestry. So just to show you real quickly where those are and what they are, Improved Maelstrom Weapon right here in the middle. It's an early talent that you would take. This now only being 1 talent is really nice and really important. Being able to have that additional talent to move down the tree sooner is a very nice change. And as you can see, here's Flurry. This is the talent, 15% attack speed. So being able to go and be able to take that choice and not feel restricted because of talent point restrictions is going to feel really nice for this ability. That talent. Molten Assault right here is now also only 1 talent. Previously, it was the 2 talent one where it was 3 seconds and 2 enemies to then 6 seconds and 4 enemies. Now it's just the 6 second 4 enemies for the 1 talent point. So another great big impactful change early on. So this clears up 2 talent points early on in your tree for your build choices to move down the tree a little bit earlier. And we're getting that 3rd extra talent point with Witch Doctor's Ancestry now also being a single talent point. So very big changes here overall. You love to see it. This, freeing up 3 essential talent points is going to go a long way for a lot of people's builds and just alleviate some of that tension and stress of trying to figure out where they're going to get the talent points to make their build work with having to move things over and commit to Flurry a little bit. So it's very nice to see that overall. Looking forward to these changes altogether. I think Stormbringer is going to be the go-to hero talent for a lot of people. I'd love to see Totemic make its way in. It has some interesting interactions, but people don't necessarily want to have to manage a totem and move it around with Totemic projection. So that's just going to be really, another side of it for people to deal with. But, I think Totemic has possibilities and potential for it in the future if they make some changes to it. But yeah, we're looking forward to the War Within coming out. This definitely had some people on the edge about whether or not they were going to play their enhancement shamans at the beginning. This should hopefully bring those people back and really solidify them being comfortable playing it. I know I was a little hesitant with some of the changes leading into it about playing it, but this is good stuff to see overall. Happy to see them make these adjustments, and War Within is just only a month away, so be ready. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, if you enjoy the content, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, you can find us on Twitch at twitch.tv/Zav. Take care and have a good one.